Good evening. Welcome. This is Manik from Geotact. Welcome to another edition of Geopolitics. We'll be discussing the recent events between Iran and Israel, and I'll be basically giving more information, whatever's come out during the last few days. So today is the 21st of April 2024 and the time is almost 8:30 in the evening Indian Standard Time. So friends, what happened on the 1st of April is that Israeli fighter jets fired a missile at the Iranian consulate in Damascus, and at least 7 members of the IRGC died, including 2 generals. The most important general was General Mohammad Raza Zahedi, who was 65 years old, and he ran covert operations for Iran in Syria and Lebanon. And also his deputy Muhammad Hadi Rami also died during that same strike. So, friends, what was different about that strike was that it hit a building which was part of the Iranian consulate. Now, consulates by and large are considered part of the country's territory, irrespective of which country it is in. So, legally speaking, it was as if Israel had hit Iran. And obviously that was a huge escalation, not only because they had killed some important members of the regime in Iran, but also because it hit a diplomatic installation. By and large, even during periods of war, diplomatic missions are supposed to be sacrosanct in the sense that nobody attacks them and it's not expected. Recently, you also had an incident in Ecuador where the Mexican embassy was attacked by the police, and they arrested a former politician from Ecuador who had taken refuge in the embassy. So that was condemned by almost all the countries worldwide, including the United States of America. Sometime earlier, there was a strike during the NATO bombardment of Serbia, where the Chinese embassy in Belgrade was targeted. The US said it happened accidentally, whereas the Chinese said that it was deliberate. So that was another violation, and Iran itself has also violated the US embassy in Iran. Not only did they violate the embassy, but they also took a whole lot of staffers out there hostages. But by and large, these things are not supposed to happen. Now, the issue was that Washington was not informed by Israel except for a few moments before the strike, and publicly, the US will always take Israel's stand, but privately there was a lot of anger because this whole situation in Israel, in Gaza, West Bank, Lebanon, there's just been a whole lot of miscalculation by different players. And also, if you go back a couple of years ago, during Donald Trump's time, a top Iranian general had been assassinated in Iraq by the Americans, and that time Iran hit US bases in Iraq with missiles, and they hit them from Iranian soil. So I think it was very short-sighted of the Israeli military cabinet, which made the decision about 2 weeks before the strike. They gave the go-ahead. Of course, they had been tracking this General Reza Zahedi for about 2 months, and so this happened on 1st of April. So Iran decided that it's going to take its time, but it made it abundantly clear that it was going to take reciprocal action. And finally, after waiting and keeping the entire world on edge, on the 16th of April, they decided to launch what they called Operation True Promise. Now, this was the first time that an operation had been launched from Iranian soil, and basically the numbers are still very, very approximate. According to the numbers that I have, about 331 projectiles were sent towards Iran. Was sent from Iran towards Israel. The distance between Iran and Israel is approximately 1200 miles. So I'll talk more what happened. Now, Iran gave adequate notice to Jordan as well as Saudi Arabia that it was going to be hitting back. That gave enough time for the US and its allies to reposition their forces. So, basically the force which was defending Israel from the Iranian attack consisted of the US, France, UK, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, UAE and Israel. So it was quite a formidable coalition of partners who were defending Israel. UAE and Saudi Arabia refused to allow their airspace to be used by the Americans. UAE gave a lot of intel information, and Saudi Arabia provided refueling to the fighters of the coalition, besides giving intel information also. There was also in Israel, there's a lot of electronic warfare going on to spoof the GPS and the Russian GOSNAS system. So much so that a lot of places in that entire area have, the GPS doesn't work. So pilots who have to land in Lebanon have a very tough time because their GPS shows that they are in Israel. And even dating apps in Lebanon have been showing and matching people with people from Israel. Whereas within Israel also, when they look at the GPS, it shows that they are in Egypt. So this is an ongoing cat and mouse game where Israel will try to disrupt the GPS, and adversaries to Israel, that is basically the Hezbollah, Hamas, Iran, the Iraqi militia, Syria, militia in Syria, they are going to basically try to overcome the limitations in the GPS which are put by Israel. Of course, Israel can do more with the American system and much less with the Russian system. Just a side note, during the Kargil war, I read reports that America restricted the use of the GPS to Indian forces. So that is one of the main reasons given why we developed our own GPS system. Okay. Now, basically, like I said, the numbers are different as to approximate how many projectiles were fired. 331 projectiles approximately were fired, out of which 185 were drones. These are the Shahed drones. They are made of fiberglass. They are launched with a rocket, but they are propeller flown. They fly very low. They have a low heat signature, but they go very slowly. So the cost of each of these drones is very cheap, between $20,000 to $50,000, and their top speed is about 180 kilometers. Or yeah. So according to the Israelis, all the drones were shot down before entering Israeli airspace. The US basically destroyed most of the drones. They had full air security in Syria as well as in Iraq. Jordan, even though being an Arab state, also used its air force. Their contention was that these are entering our airspace, so therefore violating our airspace. That is the reason what they have given. Now, the F-35s, which shot some of the drones, have some of the most expensive platform. Their weapons are in, each weapon is in millions. So the total cost, which was attributed to defending Israel, was about between 1.3 to 1.4 billion in terms of the weapons used, whereas the cost to Iran was a fraction of the cost. Now, besides the Shahed drones, they fired 36 cruise missiles and 110 ballistic missiles. So the difference, friends, between a cruise missile is that cruise missiles go at the speed of a jet, and it goes low and straight to the target. You can maneuver it, whereas a ballistic missile goes couple of times the speed of sound, and it goes straight up into the atmosphere and comes down. So those are less maneuverable. According to the Israelis, 99% of all the weapons which were sent to them were destroyed, but I think this is a bit of an exaggeration. Both sides give a lot of misinformation, and I think I would say about 7 to 10 of the ballistic missiles did get through, and we'll talk in a moment about what the target was. The cruise missile used was the Pave, which is also given to the Houthis as well as the forces operating in Iraq. Compared to a drone, it's faster because of the jet engine, and according to Israel, all 36 of them which were launched were destroyed. Now, besides the coalition forces, the US as well as the forces also had naval assets which were used to shoot down the projectiles. Now, what the Iranians did was that they coordinated that. The drones took a couple of hours to reach because of the slower speed. The cruise missiles were faster and the ballistic missiles were fastest. So their aim was that all the missiles should reach the targets in almost the same time, so that Israelis' defenses get overwhelmed. The three targets which the Iranians chose, one was signals intelligence base in the Golan Heights run by Unit 8200. Two were desert bases in the Negev desert, air bases. The first was Nevatim Air Base, which houses the F-35, and the US also uses this base to resupply Israel with weapons. And the other was Ramon Air Base further south. The Iranians did not target any cities or any population centers like the Houthis or the Hamas keep on doing. So I would say that the strike from Iranian side was very symbolic, and these air bases are probably the best defended in the world. So the fact that even a few missiles managed to get through the various defenses as well as the coalition, considering that they had adequate advance warning, you can say is a small kind of a win for the Iranians. So the ballistic missiles were probably the Emad missiles, which were developed in 2016. Of course, the Iranians, in terms of penetrating the defense, they were not so successful. Of course, Westerners would say they were not at all successful, but the fact that a few missiles got through in those two air bases as well as the intelligence gathering unit in the Golden Heights is a very minute kind of a success. Israel, of course, and its allies were very proud that most of the missiles had been, projectiles had been shot down. Iran also claimed victory in the sense they said that they were using old missiles and old drones, and the idea was mainly to gather intelligence rather than hitting Israel, and places which they wanted to hit, like the two airfields and the intelligence gathering base, they managed to hit it. But I personally think that's a bit of a exaggeration. Iran has the ability and the inventory to send this kind of a force for multiple days non-stop, and then you have an issue about the coalition's ability to defend itself, because they're going to run out of missiles, because a drone which is $20,000 to $40,000, you're using a 1 million plus missile to target it. So it's a huge, it's not really a cost benefit win. Now, Israel vowed revenge and said that we are going to, hit you back. They made a lot of statements, and they said that no country can dictate to us what we do. Privately, the US put a lot of pressure on the Israelis not really to retaliate in a strong manner. So on the 16th of April, Israel carried out a retaliation in Isfahan, which is where Iran has one of its nuclear research facility, and according to Iranian sources, there were 3 quadcopters which were shot down by them, and according to them, there was no damage or anything like that. Flights were stopped, and they resumed after a little bit of time. Subsequently, images taken by Western satellites don't show any kind of a damage into the Iranian bases. So, both sides now feel that they've done what should be done, and hopefully this marks the de-escalation of what has happened in that area. So, this is just a short summary, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.